Hi, boys and girls. Today, your math lesson is math lesson 7-4, and it's about measuring with yards. And we haven't done this yet, but it is super fun. Before we start, we're going to do a few quick looks. So let's get ready for those first. Here we go. Fill a frame. That one's really quick. So hopefully you said 11, right? You probably pulled those two over, knew that you filled the frame to 10 and had one extra. Good job. All right, here's your next one. You ready? Fill the frame. See what's left. Did you get it? So hopefully you saw that the tens frame was full except for one, so you knew that was 9, and then you knew it was the same thing right over here. And hopefully you are very familiar with your doubles and you knew 9 plus 9 is 18. And our last one, fill the frame, see what remains. Here we go. Okay, say your answer to yourself or even out loud. And again, hopefully you took just this one, you filled the frame to make it the 10 and realized you had 3 left and know your tens really well, and 10 plus 3 is 13. Awesome. Okay, so the second part of our warm-up is the mental math. And today for the mental math, we are going to see the difference between two numbers. So when we talk about the difference, right, we're thinking how far apart they are from one to the next, right? So we're going to start like this, and we're going to talk about this one. The difference between 15 and 25. So what that really means is how far is it from 15 to 25? Okay, so if you are using a number grid, you can see that 25 is just below 15 on the number grid. And we know when we go down on the number grid, it's 10. So between 15 and 25, the difference is 10. On the second one, 35 and 20. Okay, so I don't know, whatever is easiest for you, but I tend to start with the smaller number and I count up to the bigger number. So I think to myself, well, how far is it from 20 to 35? Well, I know from 20 to 30 is 10, and then to 35 is 5 more, so this one is 15. Think about this one yourself. The difference between 31 and 19. Again, maybe start at 19. Add 10 to it. If you start at 19 and add 10 to it, you're going to be at 29. And then 29 to 31 would be 2 more, right? So 19 to 29 is 10. 29 to 31 is 2 more. So 10 and 2 is 12. So the difference between these two is 12. We're getting further apart and a little more difficult. Now we're talking about 57 and 92. Again, I'm going to count up from 57 to 92. I'm going to start counting by tens till I can't count by tens anymore. So if I do 57, and then I'm going to say 67, 77, 87, 90. Oh, I can't do 97. So I counted 3 times by 10. So 3 tens is 30, right? I did 57, 67, 77, 87. Now I'm at 87 and I have to count to 92. So I'm at 87 and then I count 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 5. So I did the 30 and the 5. So it's 35 is the difference between those two. I'm going to give you a minute to try and figure out the 47 to 74. Again, start at 47, count by tens till you can't count anymore, then count by ones to find the difference. So 47, I count by tens. I count 57, 67. I can't go any higher. If I go to 77, I'm past. So I counted 2 10s. So that's 20, right? So I'm at 67, and then I have to get to 74. So I'm at 67, so I count 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. So I counted 7 more. So the 20 first plus the 7 is 27. Okay? So if you're having a hard time with these, you can do extra ones of these on your own. So think of 2 two-digit numbers and then figure out how far apart they are. Okay? Again, the strategy I use as I go from the low number to the high, counting by 10s and then by 1s when I can't count by 10s anymore. If you have a different strategy that works just as well, that's fine too. Okay, so for our lesson today, I told you that we're going to do measuring in yards, but first we're going to do a little activity, and you're going to have to choose a room in your house to do this activity, and you can do it with like 2 people. Well, you have to have at least 2. You can't do it on your own. 2 people or more. I'm going to do it with my daughter, Rachel. Or no, I'm going to do it with my daughter, Julia. So boys and girls, what you're going to do for this part of the lesson is you're going to estimate how long it's going to take, or how many people it will take to go from one room to the next. So what we did is we're going to measure from the kitchen all the way through to the family room. So you can do 2 people or 3 people or 4 people, however many you want, but you have to go head to feet, and then once you get the next person in, then the next person gets up. So I'm going to estimate that it's going to take 6 of me and Julia to get from one to the next. So here we go. So Julia's number 1, and now I go number 2. Up, Juge. And now Julia is the 3rd unit. Okay. And now I'm the 4th unit.
Back up. Back up.
Okay, good. Okay.
Now I'm the 5th unit.
Okay. And then I would be the 6th, but I can't fit, so I would say we're about 5 1/4. So Julia, when we're measuring, are all 2nd graders the same height?
No, they're not.
Were you and I the same height?
No, we weren't.
How much taller are you?
Like 4 inches.
Yeah, so we're not the same height. So why is it important to measure and have units that are all the same length?
If we measure accurately with units that are all the same length, then we should all get the same measurement.
Right, so what could we do to make sure that our units are all the same length?
We could use 2nd graders who are all the same height, or we could use the same 2nd grader.
Oh, so we could use the same person over and over?
Yeah.
Okay, or could we use like a standard unit too? Like a yardstick?
Yes, we could.
Got it. Thanks. So when you're measuring, it's important that you use a standard unit of measuring. And you've done some measuring with standard units in the past, okay? A standard unit is one that everybody is familiar with and uses. So you've measured using a ruler, right? And you've measured in inches. You've also measured in feet, right? The length of the ruler is a foot. 12 inches is a foot. So you've used that, and that's a standard unit. A non-standard unit would be like a person, okay? Like we did measuring our kitchen. That's a non-standard unit. A standard unit is one that's the same no matter who is using it, okay? So you've done inches, you've done feet. You've also done centimeters on the other side of the ruler, which are smaller. And today you're going to also use yards. So a yardstick, I can't even get this all on the camera, is 36 inches long. So it's 3 feet. If you think about your ruler, which is 12 inches long, a yardstick you can see if I line it up pretty good there, and then I move my yardstick down, or I move my ruler down, that's 2, and I move it down again, that's 3. So a yardstick is 3 rulers long, okay? So what you're going to do next is find yourself a reference unit. And what I mean by that is sometimes for a reference unit we use maybe a part of our body. Like sometimes I know from about here to here is about 1 inch. So if I don't have a ruler, I can use this to kind of help me measure. If I don't have this again and I'm measuring in feet, I know that, oh, I can use about the length of this paper, right? So that's what I mean when I say you have to find a reference unit. So on page 175 in your math journal, you're going to complete this page with things that you find either around your house or in a drawer. I know if I look to, like, I might find something in the drawer that I can use that I can say, okay, that's about there. That's about 1 inch long, this one. So I want you to find personal references that you can use for things about 1 inch, about a foot, about a yard. Okay, so remember, this is how big 1 inch is, right? Right about there. This is a foot, and then this is the yard or the yardstick. Okay, then you're also going to find personal reference units for centimeter, 10 centimeters, and 1 meter. So again, if you use the ruler, you should have centimeters, right? And a centimeter is pretty small. And then 10 centimeters, right, is about like that. And then 1 meter, I don't know if you have a meter stick at home, but it's pretty close to the length of the yardstick too, okay? If you don't have a meter stick at home, that's okay, don't worry about it too much. Okay, so now that you have your personal references and you kind of know about how much is a foot and 1 inch and a yard and all that, you're going to do some actual measuring using your yardstick. And again, if you don't have a yardstick, you can use a tape measure and just pull it out to the 36 inches. So the last thing you're going to do is page 176. And on 176, you're going to choose 3 distances. So in the example, they said from the door to the window. And you're going to make an estimate. It says about 5 yards, okay? And then you're going to do the actual measurement using your yardstick. So you don't have to be, if it's a nice day when you're doing this, you don't have to be stuck inside doing it. As long as you ask mom or dad, you can go outside and maybe you're going to measure from the front of the car to the back of the car. Or you're going to measure across the driveway or whatever you decide. So you're going to pick your 3 distances. You're going to make your estimate, and then you're going to do the actual measuring, okay? Make sure when you're doing the measuring, when you lay your yardstick down, you kind of do like Julia and I did when we were measuring from head to toe, right? The end of the yardstick has to go where the beginning of the yardstick has to go where the end of the last one ended, right? So if it ends here, then the next one starts there, okay? So have fun with measuring, do a good job, and I will see you again tomorrow for lesson 7.5. Good job, guys.